As runners, we all challenge ourselves in ways we never thought possible, pushing the boundaries of what we're capable of to smash through targets and set ourselves new, bigger and better ones.
This awesome hobby that we share gives us one thing in common, and it brings us together as a community. Whether you're working towards completing your first parkrun or you're a veteran of the sport who's run 100 ultra marathons, we all know the feeling of reaching that maxed out effort and our own red line.
Welcome to our podcast, where your hosts Brett Elesmore and Andy Maguire discuss the struggles, the successes and everything in between on our running journeys, as we all work towards the next time we're running the red line. Hello and welcome to episode 67 of Running the Red Line. I am your host Brett and I am joined as always by my co-host Andy. How are you doing this week, mate?
Sorry, mate, I was listening. Honestly, I'm trying to do some admin, which I loathe, which everybody knows because I don't ever really do much stuff on Instagram. I'm trying to make a feeble attempt of putting some of my stuff online. I've advertising. I'm doing my Summer of Speed. I've just done my first video of my series, so I'm just putting that on Instagram. But yeah, not too bad. Yeah. The weather's been like crazy today, like sunshine and rain.
Yeah, it's bizarre, isn't it? It doesn't know what it wants to do.
I know. Yeah, so it's been weird.
Yeah, you say you're not very good at Instagram. I think you need to take some lessons off me if you want to be really bad at uploading stuff and putting stuff out.
I don't know what it is. It's just hassle, isn't it? I just can't be bothered with it. You put something on YouTube, then you have to put something on Instagram to say that you put something on YouTube. What's the point in that? It's like,
I honestly have good intentions all the time. And like take photos and go, I'll put that on Instagram later. And I get to the end of the day and go, I haven't posted that. And then forget again. And it goes several days and I've not posted a single thing other than a coffee that I've made in the morning.
Yeah, I'm the same. I just think I love Instagram stories. And I know they totally ripped off Snapchat. And I'm quite grateful for they did because I never got on with Snapchat. Did you ever have a go at Snapchat?
No.
I couldn't be bothered with it. It makes you feel like all of a sudden you just feel like I don't understand technology. I don't know how any of this works. And I also don't want to upload a selfie of me looking like a turtle. Like it's all those silly, all those stupid feet. I sound like an old man now, but it's all that
those
sort of
filters.
stuff.
Yeah.
All those filters, yeah. But the good thing about Instagram stories is it basically just ripped off Snapchat, didn't he? So you can do a disappearing thing that's every 24 hours, which I do, which I quite like. So it's quite quick and easy to do because it very obviously revolves around it being quick and easy. And when you do a post, you normally have to put effort into it, multiple photos, a caption, hashtags. I can't be bothered with that. Ain't nobody got time for that.
See, you're a bit better off with your posts and stuff on Instagram because you've got all the music to choose from, haven't you? You can choose any song in the whole wide world. Whereas because my Instagram is a business profile, it's under the same laws as like all other businesses. So like YouTube and things like that. So you can only use royalty-free songs. So the songs I get to choose from on Instagram are some random weird people who don't actually release their music and just make it for Instagram. So I don't get the choice of any song ever. So you make a post and you think, that song would be good. Oh no, I can't use that song.
Of course, yeah, it makes sense. Well, I just can't be bothered with it. I don't know if it's my age or it's just I'm just lazy. I don't know. But I still haven't done a Leeds post saying that I did the Leeds. So no one even knows that I finished it. Because I put a video of me running through Otley and that was it. I don't think if people don't follow me on anything else apart from Instagram, They might have just thought I didn't even bother finishing Leeds. I ran with Kevin.
You ran through Watley and then stopped.
Yeah, got to the hill. Thought, no, can't bother with that. So yeah, but it's just effort, isn't it? God, I sound like such an old man, but it's just true, isn't it? You just think, well, I could write an Instagram post, or I could just carry on living my life.
yeah, very much so. That's the thing. Yeah, you're so busy doing stuff that you don't think, oh, I should post this online. You're too in the moment of doing stuff. It's exhausting.
That's what it is. And we don't even do this properly, let alone people that do this. Like, for example, right, imagine this level of celebrity fame. I was listening to a snippet of a podcast with Justin Hawkins from The Darkness.
Yeah.
And their band was supporting Lady Gaga a few years ago. And as a result, they went out for dinner with Lady Gaga and her team, or maybe it was just them and her, I don't know. But he said they went out for dinner. They got sat down. The first thing she did was she went on to some sort of Getty Images or whatever, and she looked at all the paparazzi photographs that had photographed her walking into that restaurant 3 minutes before.
What?
She chose her favorite photo, and then she retweeted that one. So it's like a dirty game, but it's one she has to play because she then gets to control almost the narrative that people see.
Yeah.
Rather than them see the photo of her looking unflattering, or the photo of her, I don't know. So it's like she bought that's the first little thing she had to do, was to do her admin before she'd even looked at the menu.
That's mad.
So before these other photos started circulating, she could control which photos went sort of viral, or
Yeah.
So that level of exhaustion must just be beyond exhausting. I can't.
Yeah.
That level of celebrity fame must be.
Yeah. The whole thing of you can't experience things properly because you've got to tell everybody what you're doing before you actually do it.
It's a bit like
horrendous.
Me and you going to Five Guys after the Birmingham half. Quick, let's get on Getty Images.
Yeah. But before you sit down and look at what you want to eat, you're telling everybody what you're about to eat.
Yeah, it's mad. Crazy. Absolutely cray. But I've got a funny thing I wanted to mention as well, just because I've got my page open, because I've just uploaded this video about my first week of training. I think I've got a disliker. Oh. Every time I upload a video, immediately I get a dislike. And I feel like saying to them, mate, you're helping me out.
Yeah.
Just say nothing. Yeah. Even better, don't watch the video. Don't click on it.
Yeah. Interaction with my video is giving me,
I'll take the engagement, mate.
That's mad.
So I do within the first 10 minutes, I get a dislike every time.
I do always wonder about this. Like when people are disliking videos of you doing a race, what are they disliking? What actually are they? What is going through their head to make them go, see this bloke having fun? Oh, I don't like this. What? It doesn't quite make sense at all. What goes through someone's head to say they're going to click the dislike button?
I haven't clicked the dislike button for a long time. The last time I did, I remember clicking it on what was obviously a faked video of someone trying to claim something was real. And I almost validated it by when I clicked, I could see the amounts of likes and dislikes. And it was someone... Have you ever seen that? I don't know if people still do it, but I think they call it base jumping, when they jump off a mountain and they've got like a rectangular sized parachute. They just sort of open their arms, James Bond style. They basically faked this landing on a lake that they could land it like an aquaplaning water seaplane. And I remember watching it and thinking, oh, that was amazing. I was like, no, it wasn't. How could anyone physically do that and live to tell the tale? So I was like, no. And then I looked at it and it was like 90% dislikes. So sometimes it does tell the viewer and the algorithm that something is wrong.
But on a running video of somebody running a race, what is going through someone's head to click dislike?
It's got to be jealousy, or it's got to be something wrong with them. It's got to be a them problem, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's got to be something that they're seeing that doesn't sit right with them. I mean, maybe I can't even remember what I said in this video, but maybe it was.
Maybe you've said something really controversial.
Yeah, I mean,
and you do it every video without knowing.
I mean, unless it was because maybe someone's got black pair beef. Maybe it's someone from my old club, because I mentioned Worcester AC. Could be that, couldn't it?
Rivalry.
Could be that. Could
I reckon
be.
it's friend of the podcast, Mac.
It's Mac. It's definitely Mac. I saw Mac the other day. Do you know what was hilarious? Shout out to Mac, by the way, who's been carrying a bit of an injury since before the Manchester Marathon. But I saw him on his run, and he's not been doing a hell of a lot of running since. So it was really nice to bump into him. I saw him from, the equivalent of across the car park. And I was like, all right, mate. All right. And I was like, I don't know if he's sort of seen me. And I could see him taking his earphones off and his shocks off. And he literally just didn't even say hello. He just put his shocks on me, and it was me and you. So he was listening to my podcast, and I was telling him what I'd been up to the last weekend. He's like, "Yeah, I know, because you've just told me 3 minutes ago."
Yeah.
So
brilliant. But
yeah,
fantastic.
it was good to see Mac, and I think he said he was going to put out some sort of update video about why he's sort of. I don't want to out him now for being so socially quiet, as we were just talking about. But
has his glute flared up again? Has his
it wasn't his. Oh God, I don't want to say the wrong injury now, but I don't think it was his piriformis. It was lower down. It was lower down the leg than he thought that was causing the problem, and he's putting it down to overtraining or pushing through
the mileage. Whilst he was having those niggles, he was still going out and doing high mileage, weren't he?
Yeah. So I'm sure he's going to explain it obviously a lot better than I just have when he gets around to doing his video. But he'll be back. He'll be back to because he had aspirations of finishing his marathon and doing ultras and 5K chasing and stuff like that, but he said he's going to have to put that on the back burner because he's got Chicago, I think, in October. Is it October or November? I don't know when Chicago is.
I'm not sure.
So that's exciting for him.
But he's got plenty of time, and he'll be back way stronger than he was before. As well.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. And let's obviously, he got a massive PB in Manchester as well.
Exactly.
I think it 336 maybe, or 337.
Yeah.
So I think he got a massive PB.
It's like 23 minutes, isn't it? PB.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, he ran a really, really good Manchester, and that's something maybe we can talk about one day or today. But about the feeling of us runners getting a PB but still being disappointed because you didn't hit target. Because how often do we go to a race, we set ourselves a big target but don't hit that target, but we still PB, but it still feels a little bit you're like a missed opportunity. Only us runners really know how that feels.
A bit like when you run, I don't know, maybe a 2:21:01. 3:21:01, or maybe when you run a 1:32
flat
2:00.
Yeah, a little bit like that.
Maybe like those. Yeah,
it's just like, why are these numbers spoiling my life? But it's like you just can't not think that way, can you? It's just such a. It's just such a. But that there are going to be good days, and there are going to be a lot of days like that, but a lot more days like that than bad days.
Yeah.
And those few days that you run beyond yourself are few and far between, which makes them all the more special. You know,
Yeah.
I didn't expect
when you surprise yourself.
when I did my sub 20 with you, 1959 was my almost maximum expectation. And when I ran a 1938, I was like, what just happened?
Yeah.
So some days you have days like that.
Yeah.
But they don't happen
like,
very often.
Yeah, a bit like Kingfisher 10K last year as well. When you were like, I want to run 32 and you ran sub 31.
Yeah. 42 and 41.
Sorry, 42. Man, my numbers sometimes. Yeah.
So, but yeah, that is definitely a thing, isn't it? I don't know what we should call that, but it's like you almost get like a feeling of failure, even though you've massively succeeded.
Yeah.
It's a strange old feeling, isn't it?
You've run the fastest you've ever run before, but you didn't quite hit what you wanted to hit. So therefore, yeah, it's a failure, even though you've run faster than you've ever run.
Yeah, it doesn't quite add up, does it? But anyway, so how the devil are you? Do you want to give us a fracture update? What was it? Fracture watch.
Yeah. So the fracture. It's still been a little bit aching and sore, but like I can't tell whether it is sore and aching around the fracture or whether it's ligaments and tendons and other things around my knee and next to it that are actually playing up because I'm walking funny because I'm in a boot. Because I know my left it's my left leg that I've done, and my right groin and my right glute are really painful at the moment. I'm struggling with my right leg because I'm doing this weird waddle. So because it's been aching, I've not done anything yet. So I still haven't been to the gym and used the static bike or anything because I don't want to push it if it's still aching. I don't want to make anything worse. So I think I'm just going to completely rest until things start to settle down.
So do you feel any better since you've had the boot?
I don't want to say it, but no.
Yeah.
It feels exactly the same as it did. Which is worrying, but at the same time, I don't know. Is it just in my head?
Yeah.
I really don't know. So it's a strange one, but I really don't want to push things and possibly make things worse, seeing as I'm not sure it had healed much at all between the first time I went to fracture clinic and the second time I went. But as the doctor said when I first went to fracture clinic the first time, so it was like a week and a half after London, he said basically every time I had run on it or done some exercise on it or done something else, I'd basically made that fracture a fresh fracture. He said every time that you rest or stop doing something, it starts to heal and starts to bond. But then every time I ran on it, I basically opened it back up again and made it a fresh fracture. So over that 10 weeks and doing the marathon, I remade the fracture fresh every single time. So it's like it didn't heal at all for all of that time. So I'm starting the healing from scratch. But also what didn't help was for a week after the marathon, I did a show on my knees on the stage.
Oh, God,
100% didn't make a stress fracture any better. Kneeling and doing some interesting dances on my knee and things like that really didn't help. So basically I think I've started the healing process when I first went to fracture clinic, which was 5 weeks ago.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
So how, and I apologize in advance if this is a personal question, but how are you doing mentally? Because to be injured must really suck. It must be horrendous to see, obviously, keep running and keep, know everyone's still doing their own thing. So how is it like mentally?
If I'm honest with you, it's tough.
Yeah.
It's very tough. My whole weekly schedule has been turned upside down, and I'm struggling to get my head into gear and in shape to actually function fully. And then obviously my week was spread out around when I run. So now those times when I'm running, when I should be running, my head is in go out running mode, and I can't do anything. And it's not even like, so all my injuries in the past, I've been able to cycle or cross train because they've just been niggles or little injuries where I could carry on doing something.
Yeah.
Now it is, I can't do anything. So yeah, I loved going out running because when you're running, the only thing you can think about is running. Your head clears completely, and all of the stuff that's going on up there stops whilst you're out running, and it's your escape from the real world, if you get what I mean. Now, at the moment, all of those I'm living with constantly, and there's no way of getting rid of them because I can't go and do any physical exercise. So I'm trying to find things to get rid of them and occupy my head, but it's really, really tough. So yeah, I've had a few, I will say I've had a few low moments over the last few weeks where, I honestly, I was saying to someone the other day, I got home from somewhere, I can't remember where I was, but I got home and I just sat and stared into space for about half an hour because I didn't know what to do. I was that like on edge of I want to go running, but I can't. I just physically couldn't do anything other than sit and stare into space for a bit.
Wow.
which is mad. And yeah, I know it's trying to find things to occupy you when you're so used to doing one particular thing.
Yeah.
And that particular thing absolutely fills you with endorphins and feel good stuff.
Yeah.
When that's not there, it's really, it's not very nice.
Yeah. So, I can imagine it leaves a massive void. Yeah.
Yeah. But that's then affecting me when I'm trying to work or trying to do other stuff. So like I've tried to edit a video. So I've still got a couple of videos from last year to edit. So a couple of races. So one's the Kingfisher 10K that we did, and the other one's the Alton Towers half. And I tried to sit down to edit it, and I've now spent 2 weeks trying to edit that video, and I can sit down for like half an hour editing it, and I just can't focus on it. And I've managed to get through the intro of the video, and I've not been able to edit anymore. And that's spanned over 2 weeks. And normally it would be done and out by now. But
because I kind of know how it feels from being in marathon training mode, because you know that you've only got a set amount of free time because tomorrow morning you're running, so you can't edit then you got work, then you got to eat, then you got work again or something like that, and then you've got to run again, so you know that you have to edit there and then, so you're almost in a different mindset.
But you're also focused because you've been out and done your running, which has cleared your head, so you can then be focused because you've got rid of all of that craziness that's going on. But I haven't got rid of any of that, and then I'm trying to sit down and focus, and I can't focus, and it's just I've lost a lot of time over the last couple of weeks where I could have done so much stuff, but I just can't focus and can't get into the groove of wanting to do anything, and I keep on jumping from one thing to another but not actually finishing anything.
Are you a big reader? Do you have the motivation to want to start a new book or anything? Are you into that sort of stuff?
See, yeah, I do. In the past, I have, and like if I start a book, I will finish a book and I'll keep on going until I'm to the end of the book. But trying to start a book is the difficult part, and that's what I'm struggling with. Once I'm focused on something, I'll do it and I'll get it done. But trying to find that focus to get into it in the first place, that's what I'm really struggling with at the moment.
If you were to choose a book, are you a fiction or a non-fictioner?
Oh, good question. Do you know what? It's gonna sound really cliche now, but one of the book series which I have read every single one in the series, and it's one of these things that I start the book and I can't put it down until I've read the whole book, is the Dan Brown book series. I don't know if you've ever read any
Angels
of them.
and Demons and all that.
Yeah, so like the Da Vinci Code and Angel of
Demons
and everything. All of his books, really capture me big time, and I will read them from start to finish. But and then things like Harry Potter was brilliant when that came out, and Lord of the Rings and things like that, and I'd say definitely fiction style stuff, but I do every now and then like a really good like autobiography or something like that.
I'm a non-fiction kind of. I much prefer, I don't know what it is, but I don't know if you do the same, but I'm convinced, by the way, there'll probably be a few people sitting nodding along to this. I think I've got ADHD. Laura is convinced I've got ADHD. I can't concentrate. I literally, my train of thought just disappears after seconds sometimes. So for example, if I try to read something, I'm turning the pages and I get 3 pages and I think I haven't read that. I've just been thinking about what I'm going to have for dinner tomorrow. And I just think, what was I doing? Why was I reading the words but thinking about something else? It's quite a skill, actually.
But I did exactly the same with a podcast the other day, and I listened to the same 3 minutes of the podcast 6 times before I actually took in what they were saying.
Was it ass when you were editing it?
No, but
because I was talking about earwax.
But my head, I was listening to it, but my head was going into so many other places, thinking of other things that I didn't actually listen. And I went, hang on a minute, I didn't actually hear what they said. So rewound it, listened again, and my head went to another place. And I had to listen to it 6 times before I actually heard what they said in that bit of the podcast. And
do you have the sort of brain that gets fascinated in not phases, but like you have not trends, that's the wrong word, but like
hyper focus.
You get fixated on something. North Korea would be a perfect example for me. So if I just get, and then I can pick it up and put it down for 12 months, but then I can be obsessed with it again. So one time when I first met Laura, she was convinced that I was going to try and make it my life's achievement to try and climb Everest, because which I'm pleased to admit I will never do, because the success rate for someone like me is probably not looking good. And I was obsessed with Everest. I don't know what it was. There was a series of these documentaries that I was watching for a while. I don't know how I first saw them, maybe even on YouTube, that were on the old school Discovery Channel, they were played on YouTube. And I started really, really just fixating on YouTube. Then I read all about the Everest disaster, and I think it was 1996 with Rob Hall, and then they made the one that they made a movie out of with Jake Gyllenhaal and who else was in that? There's a couple of others in that. I think Kieran Knightley was in it. And see, I've lost it again. I forgot what I was going to say. Everest. Yes, John Krakauer, right? So in 1996, there was this disaster that happened when the storm came in halfway into some people's summit attempt. The one that, a few of them died and that sort of thing. It was pretty bad. There was one journalist who got asked to come along, like an influencer does nowadays. He got his place paid for, and all he had to do was write about his experience for this team called I can't remember what they're called now. And the guy that employed him basically ended up dying. He was called Rob Hall, and he ended up going to the top, because at Everest, right, what happens is they've got like a turnaround time with a window that they have to summit. If they haven't made it by that time, they have to turn around because they're in the death zone.
Yeah.
If you're above X amount, 1,000 feet, your body just can't operate being in higher than the height that a 747 flies at. So you have to turn around, come home. And there was Rob Hall, who was the adventure consultants or whatever it was. He was like the leader. He was taking somebody up Everest who was a postman from America, and they were within, well, it looked like touching distance of the summit, and they had this turnaround time, and it turned out to be fatal. But they ended up going to the top, but they couldn't get back down, and they ended up, getting split up, and they ended up losing their life on Everest. But the journalist who was at the bottom wrote a book about the disaster, and the book is called Into Thin Air, and it's one of those books that I picked it up, and I think by, I don't know, and this is quick for me, 2 days later I think I'd read the whole thing, and that's never happened to me before. But when I get so engrossed and so into a story, I just can't put it down, and that doesn't happen to me very often, but that really kind of
that whole hyper focus thing. I do get that. I'm very much of the personality that if I'm going to do something, I will do it properly, because if I don't do it properly, there's no point in doing it. So I'm not going to half-arse something. I'm going to do it 100%, and I'm going to work out how to do it 100% properly. And I will get hyper focused on certain things and fully go into it 100%. But that's been really difficult to do at the moment because my head's all over the place. I'd love to get into something and really focus, but it's just not going to happen at this moment in time.
Do they call it like almost like a brain fog? Not a brain fog, but do you feel a little bit like it's a bit muddy? You don't really.
Yeah.
Feel it,
I think that's one of the reasons I'm always busy. I make myself busy constantly.
Yeah.
Because I don't like sitting down doing nothing. If I'm sitting down doing nothing, I feel like I'm wasting time that I could be using to do something else.
Yeah.
So I'm always busy. I'm always doing something. And when I'm not at work, I'm thinking about work, or I'm thinking about if I'm not running, I'm thinking about running. If I'm, do you know what I mean? I'm always thinking about what I could be doing. And if I'm sat down, I'm thinking I could be doing this, or I could be doing this. And I find it hard to sit down and do nothing. And that's been, having extra time when I should be running to sit down, and I can't focus on anything. That's been really frustrating over the last few weeks, because I want to be doing stuff, but I can't.
It must just be because running, for most of us listening to this, or maybe not most of us, but I wouldn't say it defines any of us, but it has a big say in our weekly or daily lives. It never really goes away, because it's one of those hobbies that is more than just a physical thing. It's a mental thing. It's a release. It's an exploration of a new hobby. It's community. It's making friends. It's it's club running. It's all sorts of different things, isn't it? And it's
I think the other thing that's annoying me as well is because I'm not particularly sprightly on my feet at the moment, because I've got that boot on, and if I do try and walk at any sort of pace, my other leg hurts. So I'm having to walk everywhere slow, so I can't walk any distance, so therefore I'm not getting outside, and I'm not getting any fresh air, and I'm not really doing anything outside. And I would spend a lot of time out in the countryside in the fresh air, out in the sun. And at the moment, I'm spending most of my time in the house or at my shop or at work. And yeah, that seems to be my whole time at the moment, which is annoying.
Yeah. Well, I've got a question for you. We've had a question specifically for you.
Oh, okay.
On my Instagram, and he's put, and this is from TQ, aka Todd Quiney.
Yep.
And he wants to know if you have taken your shoes off and driven to Dundee barefoot. No, he doesn't. He doesn't really. He wants to know. He says, talking point tonight. Don't warn Brett. I want to know his opinion off the bat. I've had an offer to run Dublin Marathon via Good for Age in autumn. It leaves me 20 weeks as of Sunday. I've ran twice this week and it feels painless. I've done my time in running jail. Do I, A, go for it and I hope it works out? It's a hefty entrance fee, but a memorable event. Or B, hold it, get sharp over short stuff and nail a spring Q on the Run marathon in Manchester next year.
He's got what, 20 weeks?
20 weeks, yeah. Bear in mind, TQ's just been out for how many weeks? 10 weeks now? 9 weeks? And he's just done a couple of runs,
But they've been painless. So therefore, he's back on the road to fitness.
Yeah.
I would say TQ would possibly only need, I don't know, a 12-week block to do a marathon, I think. I don't think he'd need a full 15, 16-week block. He's got the fitness in him to go out and smash a marathon. Maybe even shorter than that. Like actual marathon block, I reckon he could get away with 10, 12 weeks.
Yeah.
Easy. Which would leave him 8 weeks of just getting back to fitness and building the mileage.
Mm.
So 2 months of just running easy and steady to get back the mileage in his legs, get the actual feeling of running again. Do you know what? I'd go for it.
Go for Dublin.
Yeah.
Have you heard much about Dublin? It looks ace.
Isn't it the fastest growing in marathon in the world?
It wouldn't surprise me because I've heard people say that it rivals London for its atmosphere.
Yeah, the entry numbers keep on doubling and doubling every year.
That's an Ali G one. I like that. Yeah, I like that. I remember Ali G saying that.
Yeah, no, I haven't heard much about it, to be honest.
Yeah, I know. But I genuinely think Dublin is supposed to be one of the best marathons out there. There's a video out there that a lot of our listeners probably have already seen by the Welsh runner who was doing, I think, Valencia, and he went out to do like a pace test, but because of his mileage, it was obscenely high. A marathon was probably would have got up to 38, 40k in training anyway. So what's a marathon? And I think he went out and ran something like a 2:28 or something in training. And I think he did and I think this is the same block he did his 2:25 or 2:24 at Valencia. So it looks amazing. It looks like a really good race.
I'm just searching, just Googling when it is. So it's October the 26th, right? So therefore, right?
It's a bank holiday for in Ireland as well. I'm pretty sure.
He's got 20 weeks. So if he does a 12-week block, he's got 8 weeks to get back to fitness, or just build fitness to the point where you can start a marathon block.
Yeah.
So, and I think that's more than enough. 8 weeks to get that endurance to the point where you can start a marathon block. He'd already got quite a lot before he got injured, so it's not going to be too hard to get back to fitness, I don't think. So those 8 weeks should be more than enough to then go into a 12-week block, run a marathon in October, and then he's got the recovery time after October to then go into a bit of easy winter training.
Yeah.
To then start a spring marathon block in the new year with a good marathon in the bag at the end of the year.
Yeah, I think that's a good point, because that's one thing that Valencia doesn't give you. If you finish Valencia and then you want to do, say, London straight after, there's no kind of chill time, really. You're out of the frying pan, back into the fire, aren't you?
Exactly.
And TQ loves a Guinness.
Yeah. Exactly.
So where better? There is more to Ireland than this. Please say that for us when you go, TQ. Please open your marathon. But as you're crossing the finish line, please say that. There's more to Ireland than this. Sunday, bloody Sunday.
Yeah, I would say go for it, TQ. I reckon you've got it in the bag, and as I say, you've then got enough time to recover afterwards to have a really solid spring marathon block. So even if Dublin doesn't go your way and doesn't go to plan, you've got that training block then in the legs and in the body and in the mind to then focus and go again in the new year. And we all know it don't matter how the marathon goes, just doing a marathon block makes you a better runner and makes you fitter and makes you know more about your own running and your own endurance and your own fitness and the way you run and the structure of your training block and everything like that. So I wouldn't see it as wasted money at all. Even if the marathon doesn't go to plan, you're going to experience Dublin Marathon and you're going to have plenty of time to then focus towards that spring marathon.
Yep, I think that's a fair point. I'm just having a quick Google of the route. The marathon is somewhere, I'd say, in between what sounds like London and Chester. So it's 220 meters of gain, 720 feet, 722 feet of gain. So it's not a flat marathon. I think Dublin does have a hill or two of elevation. But yeah, from what I've seen, it looks like it's at a good time of year where it could be quite cool.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's in Dublin, so it's going to be mega awesome anyway, because Dublin's just such an awesome city. And yeah, I think you could be onto a winner there, TQ. So
yeah, I reckon go for it, dude.
And if nothing else, guaranteed 3,000 views at minimum.
Yeah. Think of the content. Think of the
content. Yeah. So yeah.
That's really not how we should be looking at races, but at the same time, think of the content.
So if you listen carefully, you can hear the click of his mouse just clicking his Ryanair flights already. But so TQ wrote that and he said, can you ask Brett his thoughts and feelings? But do
you know what? Yeah, I'd say go for it, because in my head, I'm still gonna do a training block and run Valencia and try and race Valencia in my head.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't even do any exercise at the moment, let alone run. But in my head, I'm going to Valencia to try and run a good time.
Yeah.
But that all depends on another thing as well, which I was saying to you earlier. So I went to the hospital for my meeting with the surgeon yesterday about my hernia. And I am now on the waiting list to have my hernia operation, which will be nice to not have that constant groin pain and it affect both my running and my job as a screen printer, because basically my job is basically all lab work, just pushing down and pulling a squeegee towards you all day. And then running obviously is very much around that area. So I'm on the waiting list. So hopefully they will get me in. But he said the waiting list is a couple of months, and I should be seen should be in for surgery by the end of the year. But hopefully that before the end of the year means into December rather than before December, because if it's before December, I might not be able to do Valencia, because after the hernia operation, it's 6 weeks. Talking about not being able to run.
Yeah.
And now I'm not finding it very easy. After the hernia operation, it's 6 weeks at least before you can do anything strenuous.
Yeah, I remember when I had my appendix out, and it was, I wasn't even running back then, but it was, the road to recovery felt quite long. And I remember the one thing I remember about, because I wouldn't say it's major surgery, it's not minor either, it's somewhere in the middle, isn't it? But like, because it's on your abdomen, you can't, I remember just not being able to stand up straight. It's such a wonderful time. You're going to love it.
Yeah. See, this is the thing. So he said that the surgery now, they've changed the way they do it. So the old school way was to do a big slice in your abdomen and get into it and do all the stuff. But now they do it keyhole through your belly button.
Yeah, that's what I had. Yeah.
So that would be interesting. But I don't know. But I sort of feel like I'll be a bit better with the recovery of that, because I'll know I'm going for surgery to improve something that's going to help me to run better. Whereas right now I can't run because a doctor told me that I was just having nerve pain and I needed to go away and stop being silly and do some exercises, which caused me to have stupidly bad stabbing pains in my leg and train through a broken leg. So I think at the moment I'm struggling because it's something that could have been prevented, number one. And number two, it's my own stupidity which has caused me to be in this situation. Whereas I think if I go in for that hernia surgery, not having to have 6 weeks out will be okay, because I'm going in for surgery and I know I can process that a bit better. But now I can't, because I finished on such a high of running the marathon and running a PB that it was such an amazing feeling and such a endorphin rush. And that the next week after the marathon, I was on such a high and still buzzing from it. To have that top of the world feeling to then go down to feeling like absolute rubbish. I think that's what's difficult to take. The fact that I was running enough to go and run a marathon and run a good time at a marathon to nothing at all is that weird switch that has gone off. I think that's what's the struggle at the moment.
Well, fingers crossed. This second half of 2025 is going to be kind to you.
We shall see.
We shall see. But before we move on, I just wanted to give a quick shout out. Moving away from injury chat, someone who don't want to jinx it, but probably will be hurting on Monday morning. To none other than Kieran Turner, who this week on Saturday, I think it starts at noon tomorrow, will be trying to run 100 miles at Endure 24. So he's doing the Reading one, because I think there's Reading or Leeds. And this weekend is Reading. And so he's ready. He sent me a little text earlier, and he said he's had some new race day shoes been delivered, and they are Puma Magmaxes.
Look
like this. So they look like really squishy, comfy ones.
They're super high stack trainer, aren't they? I think it's their version of like the Prime X or the Brooks. What are they? The Ghost Max or something like that. They're the big high stack shoe.
Think Scary Spice 1997 platform shoes.
Yeah.
Just think Buzz Aldrin 1969. Sorry, Neil Armstrong. But look at his race day nutrition as well. That's quite impressive.
Oh, wow.
So I said, is that for the first 50 mile or the second one?
Yeah.
So he's just sent a picture of...
Is the blue thing in the middle a 6-pack of hula hoops?
Salt and vinegar hula hoops, of course. So see if you can guess, right? Let's see if you can guess what's in Kieran's lunchbox. See if you can guess.
Kieran's lunchbox?
What's in Kieran's lunchbox? See if you can guess 5 things.
So, salt and vinegar hula hoops.
Yeah, you can't have that. You can't have that one.
Bananas.
Bananas, yes.
That's only because I saw them on the picture.
Yeah, I just showed you. I just forgot that. Yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't quite make out anything other than bananas. There's got to be some energy gels in there.
What brand are you going to go for?
I'd say he's probably gone for SIS.
Correct. Looks like he's gone for fruit salad, apple, orange, and the yellow one. Is that lemon and lime? Looks like it's lemon and lime. Yes, that's correct.
Yeah, okay.
It's gels, yes.
What else is in there? I would say some sort of biscuit. I'm going to go for a chocolate chip cookie.
There is chocolate, but I can't see any cookies. Let's have a look. I'm just having a look. No, I can't see any Gary Barlow's either. He's gone for something called an Apollo bar. Is that from Aldi or Lidl or something? An Apollo bar. I don't know what an Apollo bar is. It looks like from the packet, it looks like a Twix, maybe. Something like that.
Okay.
So I'll give you that, because technically that is a chocolate biscuit. So yeah, I'll give you that. So that's 3.
Wait, it wasn't chocolate chip cookies. It wasn't chocolate chip cookies, but
let's just pretend you said chocolate biscuit. Okay.
Chocolate biscuits.
As the ADHD again. I've lost concentration. Right, so can you go 2 more?
Ooh.
I challenge you to maybe a drink.
Oh, okay. He's got to have in there somewhere some Coca-Cola.
Yes, that is correct. What I do like about this is there's not an ounce, there's not a milliliter of water in sight. No, don't need water. But he has got a 2-litre bottle of Coke.
Yeah, excellent. Sugary.
Yeah.
And then, so we've got crisps, we got chocolate, we got Coke, we got gels.
There is one thing that you haven't said. Okay, let's put it this way. What would Brett Elesmore pack first?
Oh, there's got to be some malt loaf in there.
There is some malt loaf, yes. So
Amazing.
Kieran is obviously a brilliant student of running the red line, because he's packed about 40 kilos of saurine.
Which one has he gone for? Just your standard malt loaf?
He's gone for
yellow packet.
The yellow pack, and he's got the orange pack as well. So he's got some banana loaf.
Banana
loaf. I don't know if you can see that. Buy the bananas.
Yeah, excellent. Good choice.
So some other choices, some of the things you could have had. He's gone for 2 pot noodles, some Red Bull, 2 packs of porridge, some Voom bars, some Voom fusion gels, some... Are they biscuits? They look like... I can't see what they are. He's gone for some Haribos. He didn't say Haribos. Fruit pastels, cheese twists, Apollo bars. I want to know what an Apollo bar is now, because they do look nice.
I'm gonna Google them.
Mini cheddars. He's gone for some party rings. Fair play to him, like his style. And some Rice Krispie squares, which I've read, by the way, are a really good pre-race snack, because they're super light and they're full of sugar. You know those marshmallowy square bars?
Oh, yes. Rice Krispie squares.
Rice Krispie squares. Yeah. So they're a really, really good...
So an Apollo bar, it looks like, is a Morrison's Mars bar.
Very nice. Okay. K-Dog. I love the idea that he's going to be running his first lap fully loaded like that. I don't know if this is pre-race stuff or actual race stuff.
Surely,
you can't take 8 bananas with you, can you?
Yeah, but surely, because it's loops, he's got to have a base. He's got to have a base camp where he can just leave it all and just get it every lap.
Yeah. I would like the idea that they have to do it like military style, and they're not allowed to use a drop bag or anything.
Yeah.
They've got to take everything with them for
Yeah,
24
it's
hours.
like a point to point rather than laps. So you've
Yeah,
got to carry it all.
even though they run past the car 50 times.
And he's not allowed to use a backpack because he's bought it from Morrison's. He's got to have it in a Morrison's bag for life.
So if he wants to do, would that be 20 loops then? If he wants to do 100 miles, I think it's 5 mile loops, isn't it?
Are they 5 mile?
Yeah, so it'd be 20 loops.
So it'd be 20 loops, yeah.
Well, Kieran, good luck, mate. And to anybody else who this weekend is taking on the Endure 24. And if you do see Kieran, please ask him for a full review on the Apollo bars, because us boys at Running the Red Line would love to know what they're like.
Yeah, how they stack up against a Mars bar.
Yeah, because for me, the Mars bar is the king.
I was going to say, yeah. See, there's so many chocolate bars I would go for before a Mars bar. Mars bar is quite low down the list.
Unbelievable.
But I will say they are one of the best chocolate bars, though, to freeze.
You said that before. Mars They're bar, like an ice cream, yeah.
Yeah. So obviously the Mars bar ice cream is very, very good. But a Mars bar itself, if you freeze it and then chop it up into little chunks, they go super chewy because they're obviously frozen. And really good.
Do you know what I really enjoy? A nice summer treat for me is a Mars bar in the fridge and a cold can of Coke. For me, that is the ultimate summer combo. I don't know why. I think it reminds me of being young. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I just absolutely love that sugar, that cold sugar overload. I really enjoy that.
Yeah. You can't beat well, you can beat a can of Coke, because if you get a Coke on draft, that's the best Coke.
I still can't believe you think that. So the syrupy Coke you think is better?
Yeah.
Than a can of Coke?
Yes.
Or a bottle, sorry. A bottle is better than a can.
Yes, a bottle's better than a can. That's in a glass bottle is better than a can. But a plastic bottle, no. A can's better than a plastic bottle.
Yes, I agree with that. Yeah, because it goes quite flat quite quickly, doesn't it? Yeah. But why do you think a syrupy Coke then is better than a glass? Because, proper Coke that's come out of a sexy little hourglass bigger little Coke bottle.
Because it's freshly mixed and fresh out of the fountain. It's freshly mixed from syrup and soda water, freshly made, and it's ice cold and just perfect.
I just love the idea that Coke has probably been through exactly the same process in America somewhere, and it's just been bottled and the lid's gone on, and that gas has just been sat in there, and it's just been waiting to be opened by you.
Yeah.
Waiting to get smashed by you. So for that reason, that's why I like it so much. But have we talked about running once yet? We're 57 minutes in.
Yeah, we've talked a little bit about running and stuff.
Yeah. We've talked a little about running injuries. That does count. I've just realised that we're an hour in. Yeah. And we've talked a lot about other things. But yeah, good luck to anyone who's enduring this week. Also, I do believe there is a half marathon in Swansea this weekend, which apparently is a very fast race. But I did read that there's a bit of a weather front coming in. So apparently one way out, there's a really bad headwind, but on the way back, apparently you get a really nice tailwind. Anyone who's racing, we've got a sneaking suspicion that Tommy D might be racing, because I know that's his hometown. So Tommy, sorry if that's libelous, but if anyone is racing in Swansea this weekend, good luck. Yeah, best of luck. And then also, best of luck to anybody who is racing one of my favourite races of the year, which unfortunately I will be on the sidelines for this year. And that is the Two Castles run on Sunday. Mate. So you haven't got to be sorry. No, go and enjoy it. Everybody who's running, do not be sorry for me for the fact that you're going to go and run one of the best 10Ks there is. So from Warwick Castle all the way to Kenilworth Castle, through the countryside,
up and down those hills. Nice big hill at 5k to test you, and then another little incline at about 7k, and then that last little rise up to Kenilworth Castle and around the corner. That's always a little spicy one to get you right at the end.
I was talking about this at club the other night, and they said, "Oh, do they?" Because I said, Kenilworth's a bit higher up than Warwick, so technically it's an uphill race. And they said, "Oh, do they change the finish each year?" I was like, "Oh, that would be good if it was like Comrades." But Warwick have to get rid of you early doors because it's a massive tourist attraction, and they have people from all over the world coming in to visit after we've just set off. Because I think the castle. Did I tell you I used to work there, Warwick Castle?
Yes. Yeah.
So
when you were Andy with hair.
Yeah, I was a ghost. That was my first post acting school job. That was my first job. I worked for a summer season as a ghost, and it was one of the best jobs I've ever had. We just used to scare people all day, and it was brilliant. Absolutely phenomenal job. But it was a really cool place to work, the castle. And we used to get as well a Merlin Magic Pass, which I think people are still entitled to if they work for the the umbrella.
Other Merlin attractions.
So on that sort of level of things is Legoland and Madame Two Swords and Alton Towers. So we used to get back in the day, it's all probably done on an app now, but back in the day, you used to get a little thing and you couldn't lose it. Sounds like I worked there in 1930, but we used to get this little wristband, and they'd punch holes so they'd know how many admissions you'd had in the out of your 20 that you could have. But you could just take 20 people once if you wanted to.
Oh, amazing!
So you didn't even have to have people with you that worked there.
Yeah.
So that was quite good. But yeah, it's a good start, isn't it? The Warwick.
Yes.
And because this will be my first one where I'm a club runner, does that mean I can start at the front now?
Means you can go to the club start. Oh, actually, what colour number have you got?
Yellow and blue. Same colour as my kit.
Oh, you can't get into the special start.
Oh no! Because when I signed up, I probably. You
probably didn't put you were running for a club when you entered. All the people who can get into the club start have got a black and white number. Because we're the club runners have got a different colour number.
I probably wasn't concentrating when I've signed up though. Oh, that's annoyed me. Well, the fact that I'll be wearing a club vest, I wonder if that will be enough for them to let me in.
To be honest, I wasn't wearing my club vest last year. And I went over to the start and went, I'm not wearing my club vest, but can I go down into the club start? And they let me through. So,
yeah. Right. Okay. Yeah. Well, I am very much looking forward to that. And before you ask, have I got any tactics for it? No. I'm just going to run for my life and just see how I get on.
Yeah. Tactics are only there to make your breath nice and minty, though, aren't they?
Exactly. Yeah. Did you show his tactics at me? So I'm just gonna run the ups, run the downs hard, and try and run the ups as hard as I can. And I think realistically, so my PB still is the one that we ran together.
Yeah,
which is the video that you're sort of working on at the moment, which is 40:55. I managed to get in on that day. I think something sub 42 would be good for me, but I think a real target for me would be 41:30. That's what I'd really like on Sunday. So I know it's a hard course. It's going to be quite warm. And it's not an A race, so I won't lose any sleep if it goes a bit peaked on.
No, I'm just trying to think how close to my PB I got last year. I can't even remember. I must have put a post about it on Instagram because that's one of the good races of the year.
I had COVID I didn't have it. I was just recovering from COVID last year, and I sounded like Barry White. I think that was this time last year we were making the podcast, and I sounded really dodgy. Not as dodgy as you sounded that one time. Remember that?
Yeah. Oh, how you doing?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Hello.
I ran last year 36:58, and my PB is what 35 something.
Well, you broke it in Telford, didn't you? By 10
Yeah,
seconds, I think.
hang on.
Was it?
I'm sure I've got my Power of 10 open here somewhere in my tabs on my phone. This is great. Great radio, isn't it?
Yeah.
Me searching through thingy. So my PB for 10k is 35:41, and I
Yeah.
ran 36:58. So I ran like a minute and 17 seconds slower. So if your PB's 41:55,
40, 50. So let's just say 41. Yeah.
yeah,
40,
so
55. Yeah.
maybe 42 might be a good target.
So this year I've run 41:10, 41:09, and 41:25 at Bourton and Wolverhampton.
Yeah, but
Both were
any of them
probably
hilly?
no. Wolverhampton was hillier than Bourton, so Wolverhampton was technically a better performance. But I did go out a lot fast. No, I didn't. I went out the same speed. Wolverhampton was a hard course, but yeah, this one will be a harder course and will be warmer. So yeah, I think if I can get under 42, I think that's decent. I think so. That's probably what I'll be aiming for. Yeah.
Okay.
And yeah, of course I'm going to go out way too fast.
Yeah.
And that's the first thing I'll say at the end of the race. Well, I think I might have gone out a bit too fast. But that's because it's a downhill start, isn't it?
Yeah.
So you can't not go out too fast. It's a lovely start running through the castle grounds as well, isn't it?
Yeah, it's wicked. It's great. So the start, you start in the castle and walk down to the start, and the starting arch is basically exiting the castle.
You feel like a gladiator, don't you? Being released into the arena.
Yeah. But yeah, you definitely need to get down onto that club start though, rather than in the masses, because the masses start is crazy. Whereas in the club start, at least you can get yourself around other people who are hopefully running the same pace.
Yeah.
So yeah, get down into that start.
It's about 6,000 people that run it. It's quite a busy for 10k.
Yeah,
and not anywhere near London or Manchester, or it's a well supported and well subscribed race, isn't it? It's got a lot of tradition, and it's a good race. That's why,
as I say, it's one of my favourite races of the year. I've done it every year for the last God knows how long. And I love it. I absolutely love the race, but this will be the first year I haven't actually run it. Like I've run it in the past injured, so run it a bit slower and easier and stuff, just because I wanted to get there and run it, but I can't even do that this year. So I'm still going to go along, I think, on Sunday and go and experience the atmosphere over at the finish at Kenilworth. But yeah, it's
well, I think I'm going to do it twice, because I think I'm going to run back to the car. So I've got till 12:30. It's a 9:00 start, and after 12:30, this is the incentive. You have to pay £6. You have to pay like entry fee, exit fee, whatever it is. But until 12:30, it's free. So I've got really until 11 o'clock to mingle. So that the earlier I can finish, the better. Because I know what I'm like. We all know what we're like as runners. We mingle and we think, how has an hour gone by? What have I been chatting about? It's a bit like this podcast.
Yeah, basically.
How have I been? Where is the last hour just gone? Like since I've just finished this race. So I could probably have a bit of a waffle until about 11, and that gives me an hour and a half to get back to the car. So that's probably what I'll do. Have a little chill from 10 till 11. Maybe have enough time to get a coffee, and then head back. Yeah.
Nice. So yeah. So you're going to race your 10k there, and then just easy jog on the way back.
Yes. So I think I wear my Takumis, my white Takumis, the 10s. I think I'll wear them, which will which I don't find too bad running at an easier pace than, say, something like my Alpha Flies or a Super Shoe.
Yeah.
Because those things just don't really let you run easy. It just doesn't feel right. But the Takumis, I don't find too bad running a little bit slower. So I think I'll just wear them.
Yeah. The other option is, if you did want an easier shoe, if you fling them to me, I can take them to the finish for you, and then you could swap.
Oh yeah, that's not a bad shout. No, don't worry. I'll just be self-contained. I'll I wonder if there is a bag drop though. Is there any baggage buses that go up to the finish from Warwick? It's a 10K. They probably don't know. Because I was going to say I could take my backpack, my ultra pack, put it on the bus, then run home. If you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because you get give. Because if they give you a bag of goodies, I'm gonna have to run home with that.
Yeah, I think that for the first year this year, they are doing coaches from. Hang on, because they normally do coaches from Kenilworth back to Warwick for you to pick up your car. So, at the end, you can queue to get onto the coach, but the queues are always massive for those coaches.
I tell you why it's carnage, is because people park where they're not supposed to.
Yes.
They park where the buses are trying to do a J-turn to get out of the car park because people have basically blocked in the buses. That's what happened last year, and it caused chaos.
Yeah. But even when they don't park in the wrong place, the queues are still mega long to get on those coaches on the way back.
Yeah.
But they're doing coaches at the start this year, I think. So you can park your car at Kenilworth, get the coach over to Warwick.
Okay.
So you can then run to the finish and get straight in your car. I think
that makes more sense.
Well, this year.
That makes a lot of sense, doesn't it? Because then they probably want you to get there really early. Get there for 6:45, 7 o'clock or something, so you can get to Warwick for 8.
Yeah.
Because I bet it was a half an hour trip from Warwick to Kenilworth, isn't it? 20 minutes, half an hour.
Yeah, probably.
It's probably quicker to run it.
Yeah. Yeah, with all the detours and everything because the roads are closed. Yeah, probably.
Yeah. But yeah, excited, looking forward to that. You will be missed, but hopefully people will see you on the finishing straight.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to to spectating and seeing how it all looks from that side. But
yeah.
But never mind. It's one of them, isn't it? We just gotta get through it, and we will.
Yeah.
But yeah, best of luck to anyone who is running Two Castles this weekend. Enjoy every moment of it. It is such a good race that you're gonna have a great time.
Yeah, I can't wait. So it's been my first time properly racing it, because I really wanted to race it last year, but failed miserably last year because I was just coming out of COVID, and I think I ran 52 minutes last year. So I might even get close to 10 minutes quicker this year. That'll be the aim anyway.
Yeah.
So
Excellent. Good. Cool. So, other stuff to talk about. So quickly, let's have a quick chat about Grand Slam track. Did you watch any of it this week?
I saw Josh Kerr's monstrous kick around the bend, and that is actually the only bit of Grand Slam track that I saw.
Oh wow, okay, right. So that was crazy. Josh Kerr showing his class again in the 1500, showing what a good 1500 meter runner he is. I think he went into the final 100 meters, so around the bend he was in 6th, and then ended up winning in 3:34.
Was it Cole Hocker?
And then Cole Hocker, who outkicked him in the Olympics, he managed to outkick in this race. So Cole Hocker came in 2nd. But the 800 meters, so that 1500 meters was such a great race. It was crazy. And to be honest, Marco Arop, he ran a PB in the 1500 meters. He ran 3:35. So only a second behind, but he ran a PB. and he tried to take it to him big time. So on that back straight, he pushed.
He was leading, wasn't he? Or he was right up the front. I'm sure he was.
Yeah. So he was leading, and he pushed it on the back straight and was like going for it big time.
Yeah.
But yeah, people just eventually went past him on that final straight, couldn't quite hold on. So I think he ended up fifth. He was fourth or fifth in the 1500, but in the 800, Marco Aerop, man, he just showed his class big time as an 800-meter runner. It was crazy what he managed to do. You'll like this because you like this about some of your races. It's something you always try and do. In an 800 meters, he negative split.
Wow.
So he ran a 52 first lap, and then the second lap he ran a 51. And still slowed up as he come to the finish because he'd just dropped everybody in that second
That's
lap.
mental. 52 and then a 51.
Yeah. And eased up towards the finish line. So obviously, if he'd have kept on pushing all the way to the finish, he would have run much faster in that second lap.
I remember when I did my mile time trial, I was trying to run 90-second 400s.
Yeah.
And he's just run a 51 and then 52 and then a 51.
Yeah.
That is twice as fast as I ran that, and I ran that all out.
Yeah.
That's so fast.
He just dropped everybody. It was crazy.
Wow.
He put on a very good show. And because of that, so Josh Kerr, I think, got a fifth in the 800 and then first in the 1500. But Marco Aerop got first in the 800 and then fourth in the 1500. So Marco Aerop was the slam champion and won the 100 grand.
Fair play.
Yeah, which was pretty impressive. And Josh Kerr got second. But in the women's, we had a double winner. So Welteji, she was first in both the 800 and the 1500. She put on a bit of a show, to be honest. She ran 158 for the 800 and then 358 for the 1500. So she broke 4 minutes for the 1500. And then in the 1500, second was Jess Hull, the Australian. And third was Nikki Hiltz, who's an American runner. And then in fourth was the Brit, Georgia Bell.
Yeah.
And then in the 800, Georgia Bell managed to get second, and Jess Hull was third in the 800. So I think that meant Jess Hull was second overall in the slam, and Georgia Bell was third overall. Right. But in the 800, all three of those broke 2 minutes. So Welteji ran 158.94, Georgia Bell ran 158.99, and Jess Hull ran 159.63. So all broke 2 minutes, which is pretty impressive.
That's really good. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was pretty good. And then obviously the long distance group, they had a bit of a change because they only had one race. So instead of being a 3,000 and a 5,000, because it was over 2 days rather than 3, they made it just one race. So it was just one 3,000 race for the long distance. And it was hopefully going to be a really good race with Grant Fisher, who had won the previous 2 slams, but he had a bit of a hamstring niggle. He couldn't quite fully do strides before the race, so he decided to scratch. So he dropped out. So he didn't even start. He was a DNS. But what's crazy about that is he must be doing very well through being signed on as a racer and the fact he's won the last 2 slams, because first place in that 3,000 would win 50 grand. And instead of just trying to go and win 50 grand, he went, "No, I'm all right. I've got a little bit of a niggle. I won't bother." How many people do you think could actually say that with the possibility of winning 50 grand? Could actually say, "No, I won't bother trying this race."
That's
madness.
That's obviously because he's getting a good deal somewhere else, or that's incredible integrity. Yeah.
So, but anyway, so in the men's long distance, Nico Young won it, who is somebody who has been really good on the NCAA's circuit, and I think he is now come into being a pro. I think he's signed for Adidas as a pro, and he managed to take the win. Sam Gilman is another American, and he took second, and Kai Robinson, the Australian, was in third. That was the top three for the men. And then in the women's long distance, Agnes Ngetic won 3,000. And I think she just once again showed class in that race and just took it to him and pretty much led from the start, I think. But there we go. So that was the distance events at Grand Slam track. It was pretty good.
Yeah, cool. So the next one is probably about 3-4 weeks time.
Yes, the next one's LA. So the big finale, because there's 4 Grand Slams. So the next one is the final slam, which, hang on, let me just quickly check when it is. So do we know when? Don't know. I'll have a look.
Speaking of LA,
I'll find out.
I was chatting to Chris, who I've mentioned many times, Christina at Club, who's the she's the old British 800 meter champ, and 1500 and 800 meters was her event, and Commonwealth gold winner, 3 Olympic on the trot, so she knows what she's talking about. And she was saying that, because we were taught, I asked her if she'd ever been to a high altitude camp to train, and she said she'd done it a couple of times, but she never really found much benefit from the 8 and the 1500 meter. But she said for marathon runners, she said what she finds sometimes a little bit interesting is the amount of people that will go and train at altitude, but then will race in a humid environment, let's just say London, where the altitude training just has not a lot of effect.
Yeah.
Time could be better spent training in the humidity. So she said she knows somebody, which is why she said sometimes a lot of the Kenyans struggle at London or Berlin, for example, because it's almost European humidity and they're used to that dry heat. So when they're training in that level of humidity, which is not a lot, and they come and run in quite a humid climate, it can really, really wallop you. So she said she knows, I can't remember the name of the athlete now, but back in the 80s, I think, she knew someone that went to train in the humidity for about 3 months. I think it was for the LA Games. And would that have been 84 or 88? 84
somewhere
maybe?
around there, yeah.
Yeah, and everyone else went to high altitude, but someone that she knew went to train in the humidity in the location of where the games were, and ended up winning gold. So it's all about.
There's a lot of research now that's saying that heat training can have the same benefit as altitude training.
Makes sense, doesn't it?
Yeah. So people aren't going to altitude, and instead they're doing heat training on like a treadmill in a heat room. And then they're also using hot baths or saunas to get their body to the limit of heat endurance. And then when they're going and running in a much cooler temperature, they're having the same benefit as what they were if they were going to altitude and getting that difference.
Well, if nothing else, it just makes logical sense, doesn't it? You train in the environment that you'll be racing in, maybe even training harder than the environment you'll be racing. It just makes sense, doesn't it? Which is why I think it is quite valuable. And I don't want to be held accountable if anyone goes out on a Sunday long run and faints. But this hot, warm weather we've got at the moment could prime you quite well for an autumn marathon. You know, a lot of people will say, oh, it's a bit warm, so don't run today. Make sure you drink 47,000 gallons of water and only do 5K max. But like, I'm not saying go and do 100-mile like Kieran, but maybe there is something in training in the humidity and working hard, putting your body through the ringer. Yeah,
definitely. Yeah, it's crazy as well how altitude can have the opposite effect for sprinters as well. So if you go and run the 100 meters at altitude, you can run faster at altitude than you can at sea level.
Right. Okay.
Because it's a short sprint and a very short amount of time that you're actually running, and because the air's thinner, you can run through it easier.
So
you can actually have a faster race at altitude than you can when you're down at sea level. Whereas training long distance and endurance is the complete opposite. Because the air's thinner, you can't take on as much oxygen, so your endurance gets lower. So your body builds up endurance because you're taking on less oxygen. So then when you go back down to sea level and you've got loads of oxygen, it boosts your endurance.
But you need months and months of that.
Not necessarily months and months, but you need to be at altitude for a while for your body to actually take on the benefit. So like if you go to altitude for a week, you're not going to get the benefit to then run a faster marathon at sea level. You've got to be there for a few weeks.
Something. Yeah. Because I've tried that up the Malverns and it has no effect. I'm still waiting for it to kick in.
Yeah.
So, but it's an egg on my face because I've run Leeds Marathon. It ended up being even higher than the Malverns.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
Brilliant.
But anyway, shall we move on? Move on.
So next thing is your training week, your Summer of Speed training week.
Summer of Speed. So I've been since we last spoke. Then I did a Sunday long run after my 3x1 mile last week, and I went and did a Sunday long run. Did half marathon, 20-ish K, which was nice and easy. Kept everything nice and easy, but I did put a big hill in the middle, which sort of did test me a little bit. Then had Monday off, and Tuesday I did a double day. I did a easy 5K to start the day, and then I did grass reps on Tuesday night, which were, let me just have a click on the session. I can't remember what I did. It was 4x600 and then 4x800. So it was quite a bit of a grueler on the grass. And did okay. I decided not to go with the fast group and just run my own reps. And I think I was quite glad I did that because I did laps. What did I do? 600s, 218, 219, 221, 223. So getting a little bit slower on the 600s. Then the 800s are 309, 309, 313, 306. So not too bad. And I was wearing trail shoes again, wearing my house bricks. So nice. I was quite pleased with that.
Nice.
And then rested Wednesday. And then Thursday, didn't run all day until track, which was last night. And I did, really good session, really enjoyed it. I spoke to the coaches and said, I'm racing Sunday. And what would you recommend? And they said the session was 8x500. I've never run 500s on the track. I actually quite like it as a distance because we started just after the 200 bend. We always finish at the... Sorry, we started just after the 100 meters by the hammer cage. I don't know if you know that at Worcester. On the first bend. And then we did, a lap and another 100 meters. And our little finish bit is always, on the 200 meters to go bit. That's where we always finish.
So you don't finish on the start-finish line. You finish on
no.
the
I think
200-meter point.
that's because I think another group has that area, like the hurdlers have that bit, or something like that, or the sprinters have that bit. So we always finish up there, and it was good. So I did 4x500, and went out with Merv, who decided to do all 8.
Yeah.
And
what was that off recovery wise?
2 minutes off. So it's quite nice. Quite a nice recovery.
In between each 500.
Yeah, it was quite gentle. It was quite a nice. Yeah. So what we did was we've noticed that with the track sessions, some of them are super spicy, and some of them are quite gentle, if you know what I mean. Some of them feel quite either low volume or quite nice. And I'll never question the coaches. I'll just say, "Yep, okay, I'll do that. You know what you're talking about, so let's do that." And so it was, but it wasn't static. It was, we had to walk back, and we had to do a gentle jog to get back to the start of the next rep. But I was with Merv, and I let him take it out. I always let him take it out because he's faster than me, and I just snapped at his heels, really, and I quite enjoyed it. So the 500s we did. See if you like this. 154, 154, 154, 152. So pretty good. So I've worked out that the 154s will be 12 seconds off of 4 minutes per kilometer. So that's 3:48 a k. So that's a lot faster than I've been running lately, and that felt quite nice. Felt quite good.
What were you running? 150?
154 for the so times up by 2.
500.
Yeah. So I was quite pleased with that. And then I did some 150 meter acceleration strides just to finish. And that was the end of track. And then I had a conversation with the coaches, which we'll get to in a minute, because they recommended that I try something on Wednesday. And I said, yeah, go on then. And I've signed my life away. And then Friday today.
Yes.
And then Friday today, I did a little easy run with Daisy around the lanes, which is like 8-9k, so 5.5 miles, nice and easy. But I'm making my debut as
I've managed to peer pressure you. Yeah,
you have. You've influenced me again. I am signed up to do I can't believe I'm saying this, a 3,000 meter track race at Stratford-upon-Avon on Wednesday night
in the
under the lights in the Vets League V35s. And I've got no idea. What I'm doing. I don't know why I'm doing. I don't even know how many laps it is. Is it 7? 7.5?
7.5.
I don't know how to lap it. I don't have to look at my watch. I don't have to follow the person in front of me. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. But I think I'm just in that kind of headspace where let's just say yes a little bit.
Yeah.
This year to things and just see where things go. And if nothing else, it'll just be a bit of experience.
Yeah. Amazing. Guess where I'll be on Wednesday?
Yeah, I know exactly where you'll be. Shouting at me 7.5 times.
Yeah.
Go on.
Damn right. Yeah. Basically, set off a bit faster than 5k pace.
Yeah.
And just hold on to it.
Literally just go back a few steps, right? So, when everyone starts, does everyone start at, where we do our track sessions? So does everyone start on that back bend?
Everyone starts at the 200 meter mark, yeah. And there'll be a curved line because obviously the people who are starting further out will be a bit further round the bend when they start. So the start line's curved. But it's basically break straight away. There is no running in lanes for any time. It's basically as soon as you start, break and go straight to lane 1. So wherever they place you across that,
you don't seed yourself.
No, they put you in starting positions.
Okay, thank God.
So they will have a list for the Vets League where each club will be assigned a lane. But there are no real lanes because the Stratford track's a bit weird as well. There's only 6 lanes rather than 8. So it's a bit of a smaller track. But they will then put you in order, and they normally do it 35s, 40s, and then what other age group there is running. Normally there's only 2 age groups, but I think for yours there's 3, isn't there? So they'll put you in order of where they want you to start, and then so you won't necessarily be stood next to the other Worcester runner. You'll be stood next to all the other 35 runners.
Oh God. So I'm in the fastest category, well, technically, because it's the youngest category.
Yeah, you'll be surprised though. Some of the 40s will absolutely fly.
Yeah. So, I am nervous because I do feel with track massively out of my depth. At least with a race, like a road race, there's 6,000 of you to get lost between.
Yeah.
But when there's like 21 of you or whatever it's going to be, I'm going to stick out like a sore thumb. But I've got to stop thinking like that, because it's going to be a really good, fun club event, isn't it?
Yeah. And you've got to think everyone else is in the same boat. Yeah. Everyone else is thinking exactly the same as you. So get out of that. Everybody's looking at me and I'm going to look really odd, because no, you're just there to race. Everybody's in exactly the same position. Yeah. Of they're stood on that track and there's not that many people, but you're all going to run as fast as you possibly can.
And if I'm running, I mean, what will the winner win that in? 7-8 minutes? No, 9 minutes.
7 or 8 minutes. Running world record
100 grams.
Yeah. 7 minutes. So the winner will probably do it in about 9 minutes, 9.5.
9 minutes, right? So they'll be running probably 75 seconds a lap or something, do you reckon?
Yeah, somewhere around there, yeah.
So they'll mathematically probably lap me after about 5 or 6 laps.
Yeah, you'll probably get lapped.
Which is fine, because I think I'm probably going to aim for about 11 minutes 30, something like that. I think that'll probably be about right.
Hang on. So let's say your 5K PB was 20 minutes on the nose.
Yeah.
So you're running 4 minutes a K. So it'd be 12 minutes. You're going to run quicker than that. So 11.5. Yeah, I reckon you could probably push just under 11.5.
Yeah, okay. Well, my track PB was, my 1600, whatever it's called, the mile, was 4 laps, and I ran that in 5:51, which is in Ks. It's about 3:46. How much further is a 3,000? Nearly double. So if I can run about 3:50 for 3,000, it's going to be around about 11:30, isn't it? That would be a good result, I think.
Yeah, I reckon somewhere between 11 and 11:30 would be good.
That'd be very good, I think. Yeah, but anyway, what I'm going to do? I'm going to stay in lane 1. I'm going to try and hold my own in lane 1. Good. If you want to go around me, you got to go around me.
Good lad. That is the correct way of racing. Yeah, if they are coming to lap you, they need to lap you, not undertake you, and you do not move out for them to be polite. You're racing just as much as them, so they need to go around you.
And I could either go quickly shopping now and buy some track spikes, literally some spikes to put into my cross-country shoes, spikes, or I can wear my Takumis, and I think I might just wear my Takumi 10s.
For your first race, you've never run on the track in spikes, have you?
Never even put them on.
No. Do not use them for a race then. First time of wearing spikes on the track. They are very different to running in shoes on the track.
My calves would feel it, won't they?
Number one, your calves will probably absolutely be destroyed and blow up.
Yeah.
Number two, because you've got that extra grip, if you don't pull your foot up fully, when you put your foot down, you can trip over your own feet because they dig in and catch on the ground. So it's, I've almost, my first couple of times I used spikes, I almost fell on my face because, I've almost tripped up over my own spikes. But it's a very different feeling to running in shoes. And if you've never run in spikes and never even tried it in training, do not go for them straight away in a race.
So will the referee, or whatever they're called, the official, come over to me and say, just to remind you, Andrew, you cannot run an official record today. I'm like,
So
what?
yes, so basically the adjudicator or judge, they will come along the line and they'll have a tick list and they'll go, yeah, they're legal, no, illegal shoes, illegal shoes, illegal shoes. But I think they've changed for club runners now. I think they've changed the rules, so you can actually wear like standard
Road
shoes as long as they're under a certain stack, and it's okay at club level. Whereas it used to be you had to wear spikes,
So if I
otherwise
turn
they
up
were
in
illegal shoes.
So if I turn up in, say, Prime X's or Alpha Flies, they might be like, sorry, they're too illegal.
No, you can run in them, but they're illegal, so you can't officially record an official time. So you could still race in them.
One thing I'm worried about is them saying, no, off you go, mate. You got spikes on.
Yeah, no, they're not going to be. They're not going to be that harsh at a Vets League event. Okay. They'll let you race, but they'll say if you set a record, it won't be official record because you're wearing illegal shoes.
Imagine if I break the club record now. 7 minutes doesn't count, Andy. What?
Yeah. But yeah, so yeah, you'll be fine. What were you thinking of wearing?
Yeah, the Takumi 10s.
Takumi, yeah, be fine.
Yeah, but because they're as close to a flat as I own, really.
Yeah.
So I thought they'd probably be the best option.
Yeah, when I did that hour race around the track a couple of years ago, I wore Takumis for that. But yeah, there is like a World Athletics list of shoes that are legal on the track, so you can actually race certain races and it will say the distance and what shoes are legal for each distance on the track. And when it gets up to like 1,500 and 3,000, there are more shoes that are legal. Right. But I'm pretty sure Takumis aren't on the World Athletics legal list.
Okay.
I think there's only like a few Adidas shoes, and they're weird and wonderful ones that I don't think anybody actually has.
Right.
So like the Adidas RC3 is one of the legal shoes. I think it's the RC3. It might even be the RC2. Which as you say, you've never heard of them. So there's it's a weird old list. Like all spikes, you could if you wanted to for the 3,000 run in hammer spikes or long jump spikes.
Oh, right, okay, yeah,
something like that. They're legal, but you wouldn't use them
because they're approved.
Yeah,
rather than okay.
But yeah, there are certain non-spiked shoes that are legal for 3,000 meter races.
Right. Okay. Yeah, but I shall have them on, I think, and hope for the best. Yeah, but I'm looking forward to it. I think it'll be a good experience, and it'll be good for my summer of speed. It'll be good training, won't it? And it'll be good to.
Yeah. What I will say though is on that start line, be careful because there will be people wearing spikes.
Yeah,
and because everybody is going for that lane one when you set off from the start. So there's like could be 20 people in your race, 20 people all aiming for one lane all at the same time. It can. So if you aren't getting off the line mega fast to get to the front, be careful because it can crush very easily, and you could either end up on the floor or you could end up being spiked. So just be careful on that start line. And get off to a good start, but get off safely and out of trouble.
Because I imagine round that first bend, you might still be running 2-3 abreast, maybe, or does everyone get into single file really quickly?
Well, round the first bend, the people who are out at the front and trying to go off quick will be maybe 2 abreast at the most, but they'll all be in lane 1 because they'll aim straight for lane 1, and then everybody behind will be lane 1, 2, maybe pushing out to lane 3 until they all start to get into single file or into groups.
Okay.
But it could be that there's a pace, not a pace group, but a group of people all going at the same sort of pace as what you want. and you could just sit in that group and be paced along very nicely.
Okay. Yeah.
But I'm going to work out what 11:30 is per lap, and I'm going to be timing you and shouting at you every lap.
Okay, that will. Right. So, do I need to do any thinking at all, or do I just should I?
I'm only joking, by the way. I'm going to just let you run your race.
I was thinking is run that first 200 and then lap it, and then every 400 after lap it. So I know
you could do that.
Yeah. Or maybe the first 90-second, the first 600. Let that.
I tend to do every 400 meters from the start, and then just do a 200-meter sprint to finish.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah, that makes sense.
But I'm joking when I say I'm going to work out times and be shouting at you. I'm just going to let you run your race, but I just want to be there to watch and spectate.
No,
and
that would be helpful. That would be helpful, yeah. Because it is going to burn. It is going to hurt, isn't it? 3,000 is not going to be a pleasant distance.
It's possibly even worse than a 5K.
Oh, brilliant!
Because you're even going even faster, so you're on that red line even quicker than you are in a 5K.
Oh, I'm going to be a mess.
Yeah,
I'm going to be a mess. Oh, it's going to be such a.
Yeah. Do you know how you felt at the end of your mile time trial?
Yeah.
And how it hurt. Imagine that for another 3 laps.
Oh, that was disgraceful as well, the way that felt. Yeah, bring it on. I'm going to have a good go at it. We've got to live up to the name of this podcast, haven't we? I can't be like
exactly
running the mildly red line. It's got to be running the blood red line, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah.
Ace. Yeah.
Running the beige line.
I can't wait.
Yeah. Bring it on.
Yeah.
Shall we go through a few comments and emails?
Yes, let's go for it. Right. So, comments. Let's grab those up quickly. So, first off is JK Running 66. And they say, Comrades Marathon on June the 8th. We'll let you guys know how it goes.
Oh, so that's Sunday.
That is Sunday, yes.
Oh, good luck.
Comrades.
Oh, that sounds incredible. It sounds absolutely amazing. So that's the race, isn't it? Where you have to touch a part of the wall halfway and it brings you good luck in the second half or something like that. There's all sorts of different bits of folklore about that race that I find really, really interesting. So I'll be interested to know what it's like.
Yes.
So yeah, please let us know.
Let us know how it goes, and best of luck. Yeah, have a great run out there. Yeah, amazing. Next one is from Liz Brown, and she says, "Yay! So happy to have made it onto the Strava segment. Not just made it onto the Strava segment, absolutely smashed it to the top, into the top 3. It's the first time, and I've wanted you both to hurry up and get to it. Great podcast as always. The only one that I keep checking to see when the new one is out. Amazing. Thanks, Liz. That's nice awesome. One, and yeah, to see you at the top of, see you up there at the top in the top 3 of the Strava segment was awesome.
Yeah.
Next one is from the Ayrshire Runner, and they say, loving the pod as always. Count me in for the Valencia shakeout if you guys make it over. Obi-Wan branded Valencia merch would be a mint edition. Keep up the good work, lads. Yeah.
Well, there's 3 of us on the shakeout then. 3 and growing.
Yeah. All of the people absolutely flocking in their wands to the shakeout.
Yeah, of course. We'll keep you updated, and it'd be great to see you out there.
Yeah, definitely. Next is Rob Scott, and he says, remember, Jakob Ingebrigtsen, the best 5K runner in the world, does 100+ miles a week. Brett's right. Speed has to sit on top of a broad endurance base. Looking forward to following the 5K block, Andy. With your marathon base, I reckon you'll be closer to 19 than 20 by the end of it. Good luck.
Oh, okay. Cheers, mate. I hope so. That'd be really nice, wouldn't it?
What was your mileage at the end of last week? But by any?
Yeah, it was only 30 miles, so it was 50k. So
Okay, what are
this
you on
week
track for this week?
60k, so 40 mile.
Okay,
So
nice,
I know I need to run a little bit more, but
nice.
everything feels slightly easier this week. So I think that's because I'm running a little bit more. So yeah, I think
Yeah,
I'm gonna keep on that
yeah,
trajectory. So yeah.
yeah, yeah. Cool. Just remember, don't increase mileage and intensity at the same time. Increase one or the other.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I've only got. I know I was going to say I've only got 2 sessions this week. Got a long session on Sunday, 40-minute session. So yeah, I hope for
Yeah,
the best. Should be
yeah,
fine.
and you've got possibly 2 sessions next week on Tuesday and Thursday, with a really intense session in between on the Wednesday.
It'll be fine.
So,
It'll be fine.
yeah, take Tuesday easy as a pre-race, and then take Thursday easy as a recovery.
Just don't give the NHS that boot back, because I'll have it. I'll have it after you.
Brilliant. So next is from Mike Lee 01, and he says, "Loving the pod, guys. Even the random bits about running. Good luck to Brett with the recovery. I was out for 16 weeks with a tibia stress fracture, and found the return to running not as straightforward as anticipated. Be prepared for phantom pains and maybe nerve-related pain. Yay!"
Oh.
So that should be good. So I think that's what's going on in my knee at the moment, with all the weird sensations and things like ligaments and tendons feeling a bit weird around the knee. So yeah, we'll see. Fingers crossed. Thank you, though. And then it says, suggest Andy conducts an experiment for us.
Oh dear.
The training week made up mainly of quality and interval sessions, no S&C, and limited zone 2 work. He can then feedback each week on how his body is responding to the regime, a winning formula, or road to ruin.
Well, I can tell you how the no S&C is going. Quite well.
Well, dumbbells were too expensive, weren't they? So
30 quid. You're having a laugh. I'm not made of money.
Yeah. So yeah, you could do the experiment of only doing intervals and quality sessions and not doing the base training. But what do you reckon? Do you reckon you're going to go for that base training as well?
Yeah, I think I know I need to, because I like getting the blood flowing and get, like, for example, this morning, because I did my track session last night. I woke up this morning, everything just felt a bit tight, and I just used my easy run today as just a loosener, and it just felt really nice. And I felt like if I didn't do that run today, I probably would have harbored that tension all day, and then maybe gone into Sunday with it feeling a bit tighter than I maybe should have.
Yeah,
but I get it. I would love to be a guinea pig for everybody, but what if I got really injured doing this challenge? So yeah, that's the thing.
Yeah,
but yeah, cool. a lot of people do say, quality over quantity, but this is, something that you kind of have said, no, you need them both, which I probably agree with. Well, I definitely agree with. So yeah, I don't think you can just do fast running, can you? I don't know.
No, I don't. I don't think that would work, because for the races that we're doing, you need that endurance base, and you won't be able to get that endurance base by just doing fast paced stuff.
Yeah. And it's just good for your mental health, if nothing else, just to go out for a slow, ploddy run. It's
yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
definitely. Yeah. So next one is from the previous episode, so your Leeds Marathon recap episode, but it's from Alex B. Official.
Yeah.
The Black Country accent got me, especially when I was driving through Kimver at the time. Perfect. Love the pod as usual, fellas. Oh, brilliant. Brilliant. As if he was driving through Kimver when we were doing our Black Country accent. Amazing.
Yeah, that was good, man.
Brilliant. Good times. Next one is from Daniel Nolan. And he says, would Andy consider a sub-20 attempt at Battersea Parkrun? No, it's a bit of a journey, but it's super flat with wide roads.
Well, it does feel like a bit of a race, doesn't it? The Battersea 5K. I mean, they're all races, aren't they? But that really does feel like somewhere you go to run fast. Yeah, I would consider it. I don't know. Maybe this summer could get down there if I've got any time. Yeah, I'll consider it.
Yeah, cool. Good. Next one's from Mark Hurdy-Gurdy Runs. And he says, Beardy Rich is right about the Adidas Evo SL. It is let down by the tongue being too short. It's quite a wide shoe in the toe box, so it would be nice to use the runner's knot to get a good lockdown. But despite it being there on the shoe, it's impossible to use it due to that tongue. Adidas have a few things to get right. Firstly, the tongue on the Evo SL, but also their erratic shoe sizing. I'm an 11.5 in the Pro 3 and the Evo SL, but I've had to size up to a 12 for the SL2, which, by the way, is a very underrated shoe and a brilliant daily trainer.
Right.
I don't get the laces criticism, so I agree with Brett. The Evo SL is a great shoe, but it gave me blisters on the first run due to my foot moving around in the toe box due to it being so wide. So I resolved this by using a thicker sock. So, yeah. I will say, the Evo SL, the tongue is slightly short, isn't it? It could do with being maybe 100 mil longer, and it would be perfect. I do think they've made that a little bit too short, and I'm not sure whether that's because they've gone for the lifestyle market with them as well. I think they've done the old Boost and the old Ultra Boost thing, because when they made the Ultra Boost, it was as a running shoe, but then it started to get quite popular in the lifestyle world, and they started designing them as a lifestyle shoe rather than a running shoe. And I think they've tried to make it a bit more of a lifestyle shoe, the Evo SL, as well as being a high level daily shoe for running. They've tried to keep that lifestyle aesthetic as well, and I think the short tongue is for the looks rather than rather than function. So I think
it's not just an Adidas thing though, because my Saucony Endorphin Speed 3, the tongue is useless. It's rubbish. It's just like the Evo SLs. The Vaporfly 2, similar. It's like this little fiddly thing that you have to, you sometimes folds over itself if you put your foot in and the shoe's slightly, too tight when you put it in. You have to do it again. So it's not just the Adidas thing. I think it's just a shoe design thing in general. People just do it to try and cut weight and try and cut faff, but it sometimes creates more.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I do agree, though, with the Evo SL. The toe box is a lot more forgiving than the SL2. The SL2 is a very narrow shoe. It's not for anybody who's got wide feet at all. I loved the SL2. I thought it was brilliant, but it is very narrow in the toe box, whereas the Evo SL, there's a lot more room there. So, yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
There's one more comment, but I'm going to leave that for later. So,
okay.
Let's go over to some emails.
Well, firstly, I'm not going to do this too often because we're never on Instagram, but we did have an Instagram message come through, and I just thought you might appreciate this.
Go on then.
I briefly read this to you off air because I saw it and it was in our outbox, and it said, or whatever it's called, our what's that?
Oh, the message requests.
Message requests.
Yeah. I can't see them for some unknown reason on our Instagram.
Yeah.
I just get a spinning wheel that it's loading and it won't load any of the message requests. It's weird.
If you want to contact us, it's always better to either leave us a YouTube comment or just send us an email because we just miss them.
We're both useless.
Otherwise.
We can't even run our own Instagram, let alone a shared one.
If you want your message read out in 18 years, send us a DM. Okay, so this is from James Phillips. And he says, "Hi guys, I found your podcast a few weeks ago and I've downloaded them from the start and I've enjoyed listening to them. Being a self-employed gardener working 10 to 12-hour days, I do get to listen to plenty of episodes and on my long runs. I didn't think the podcast could get any better until today when Brett started talking about classic cars.
Yes.
I have a 1972 Morris Marina van as my everyday work van and a 1974 Mark I RS 2000 Escort, which is my pride and joy. Keep up the good work, James.
Awesome. An RS Turbo. Oh, yes. Mark 1 RS Turbo. That's some, that's some car, that is. And some money's worth as well. They're going up and up and up in value, man. Yeah, that's it. That's a great car. And having a Morris Marina as your daily van, that's awesome. Yeah.
It sounds like you and James would have a lot in common. I don't know what these cars are. I've heard of a Mark 1 Escort, actually. Is that what I would have seen on like the Le Mans or that, not Le Mans? Is that what I would have seen on the rally circuits and things like that?
So the Escort was, I wouldn't say designed as a rally car, but they used it as the Ford rally car for a long time. So yeah, you probably would have seen it with some big spotlights on the front and widened arches and looking pretty racy. But my dad's recently done up a Morris Minor pickup. So that's his car that he's been driving to shows and stuff. He basically got it. He thought it would be an easy project. So he got it and thought it would just be a tart up, paint it and get it on the road. And he ended up pulling the engine out, pretty much replacing every panel on the whole car, prepping and painting it, and then redoing all of the interior and then doing up the engine and putting it all back in.
Wow.
So yeah, it was a long old job, but that's pretty cool. And then I've got a Volkswagen bus, which you've seen. So I've got a bay window, 1970 model bay window, which I bought because I wanted one to look like the Lost bus, as you know. And then my other pride and joy. Well, my daily is a Mark II Jetta, Mark II Volkswagen Jetta. I'm a Volkswagen person, so I've only ever owned Volkswagen cars. I've never owned anything else other than a Volkswagen. So I've got Mark II Jetta as my daily. I've also got a couple of Mark I Golfs, which are in various states of repair, which I do need to get on and sort and get back on the road. But my pride and joy is a 1968 Carmen Ghia, which I absolutely love. That's my,
James is probably rapidly nodding his head right now. Just like that. Yeah. Whilst he's like shearing some like hedges. Yeah. So cool. All right. Cheers for the text.
Amazing.
Mate.
Cheers, James.
So moving on to the emails now. Now this is from our Spanish. Should we call him our Spanish correspondent, Mark Beltran Segarra? Says, "Hi Brett and Andy. Writing in after hearing my name butchered in the Strava leaderboard segment."
He's just watched it again.
Una más, por favor. A for effort, though. In case I happen to be on it again, you can just call me Mark with a C. Okay. Mark with a C. Exciting news about your shakeout run for Valencia Marathon. I'm actually from a town near Valencia, but unfortunately I won't be at the marathon. I currently live next to Barcelona, so to compensate, I offer to host one there if, when, wink, wink, you come for the half. Question. I've never run a road marathon before, but I've done plenty of trail marathons and 4 to 6 hour races, but never a road one. To be honest, I'm really scared of them. I was thinking about maybe doing one this winter, but I think having a 4-month plan dedicated to training for something will really get into my head and freak me out. With my trail racing, I'm less structured and train mostly on vibes. Do you think it would make sense to maybe split the training into 2 and do another marathon during the build-up? Maybe run that one more conservatively just to have a banker time and remove some of the pressure from the other one. According to recent races and calculators, I'd be targeting somewhere between 2:30 and 2:35. So maybe try to run the first one at 2:40 just to have experienced the road marathon experience. Love the podcast. It's become my go-to for long runs. Keep it up and make it as long as possible. Cheers, Mark with a C.
Yeah. Cheers, Mark.
I should say Mark with a th. Th.
CC Mark.
CC.
Yeah, that's interesting because you've obviously got the mileage in your legs from doing the trail races over long periods and lots of miles. But road running is a very different beast, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, you hear people say that road marathons are the hardest thing in running. I mean, that's probably a term coined by road marathoners.
Yeah.
But there is something in that, because something about running on the road makes you want to give it everything. And when you're on the trails, sometimes you can just find yourself in a state of nirvana. Sometimes you can just be like awe-inspired by everything around you and, the scenery or the trail. But in a marathon, you don't really have that luxury to think like that, do you? You just think your mind is on the task all the time.
Yeah.
And that's not belittling in trail running, because trail running is incredibly hard. And obviously it's relative to the effort that you put in. Because I'm sure that Kieran Jornet wouldn't say a road marathon's harder. He'd probably be like, yeah, come and run the 200-mile Moab race or whatever it is and try and do that.
Yeah.
And see if you find the blooming Leeds marathon harder than that.
Yeah.
At my pace. So yeah.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. I'm not sure though I would recommend or suggest running a full marathon halfway through a block as a training run. You're up to like 20, 21, maybe 22 mile at a push. Your body can recover enough to then carry on training and get back into training.
Yeah.
But once you hit that full distance of a marathon, your body needs a long old time to recover fully. So if that's in the middle of a block, I don't think you'd be able to get back into training and it would actually give you the benefit that you hope it would. So I think it's more...
Yeah, I mean, a 2:30 marathon as well.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
That will be very taxing, I think, on your body. No matter what your ability, that is just like, that is going to be a real sufferfest. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think you can train on the trails for a road marathon, but I understand your reservations about running on the road and, missing the trails. I mean, what do they say? That little Kenyan proverb that I heard Elliot say once about chasing two rabbits and you'll end up with none. It's difficult, isn't it?
But this is the thing though. You say you can't train for a road marathon on the trails, but in Kenya, all of the roads are dirt roads, so they're basically trails anyway, aren't they?
And probably not far off blooming mountains. What some of them are running up.
Yeah. So, I mean, if it's proper mountainous trails, then probably not. It's probably not the right training for a marathon. But if it's just trail surface rather than road surface,
yeah,
I can't see why you can't do a lot of your training out on the trails at all. I think you need to do some road running just to get the feel for it, because the impact from running on a road is very different to running on a trail. And if you've only ever run on trail, then you move to the road for the race, your body could get very beat up.
Yeah. But I would say they're not as, I mean, of course, you might think different, but I wouldn't say they're as bad as you maybe think they are, because you've said here that you're almost feeling a bit scared of the marathon. I don't know if that's the actual marathon distance or the anxiety of the huge numbers that will turn up en masse or whatever it is. But once you tap in and you start getting into it, and you know that you've got a good block of training behind you, the experience might not be as bad as you think. It's just, you're obviously no stranger to the pain cave and the effort if you're doing 4 and 6 hour, mountain runs, and you often find yourself at the sharp end of the leaderboard on the Strava segment. So you obviously, like Brett says, you're obviously getting the miles in. But I think marathon running, there won't be many marathon runners running 2:30 who don't do any road training.
Yeah, that's true.
I think a lot of the hard work, not the hard work, but a lot of the tempo work will be done on roads. And that, that, I don't know, it's such a difficult one to mix the two,
but that's the thing. You can mix up your training and do your tempo and threshold stuff on the roads, and then go and do your easy runs and all your mileage out on the trails. There's nothing stopping you doing that and mixing it up, and and having fun whilst you're marathon training. That's the main thing. You need to make it fun. You need to make sure you are enjoying yourself, because if you're not enjoying yourself, it's going to be a slog from the start. So just make sure whatever you choose and whatever route you decide to go, that it's an enjoyable one, that you're going to want to go and do the training.
Yeah. Well, cheers, Mark with a C.
Yeah,
thank you very much. Gracias, muchas gracias. So we're moving on now to Conrad. So Conrad Burdekin, who says, "Dear Carol and Vorderman, please, second please in capitals, use the Jack Daniels VDOT calculator when working out splits and times. I did very much enjoy the silence punctuated with sighs and muttering as Brett tried to work out Andy's pace when running 600 meters in 2:16. But a quick visit to the calculator tells me that 600 meters in 2:16 is actually 347 kilometers, not 343, and would give a 5K time of 18:55. Me and my autistic brain, thank you in advance, Con. P.S. I also love this calculator as it gives you equivalent times and you can achieve in other distances, and it gives you equivalent reps in other distances for speed training. It's brilliant."
Yeah.
Cheers, Conrad.
Thank you, Conrad. Yes. So my calculation was based on if you kept that same pace for the whole kilometer, that's what you would run. But that Jack Daniels calculator obviously takes into consideration it's a longer distance, so you wouldn't be able to keep that pace exactly the same for the whole of the distance. So it then factors in that extra distance and the pace drop off. So then, yes, it would make it a 3:57 rather than a 3:53. So my calculation was you were running at this pace for that 600, but if you carried on for the rest of the kilometer, your pace probably would have dropped and you would have gone to 3:57. So you make a good point, Conrad. That is it's that calculator actually takes into consideration the human nature of you can't keep on the same pace that you've run for 600 for the whole of a kilometer. But at that 600 you were running at that specific pace. So I like how that calculator works. But would it give you the exact pace that you ran for that distance? Because it's taken into consideration the pace drop off. So, I don't know.
And also, Brett says I'm faster than VDOT, so we'll go with
me. Yeah,
we'll go with Brett. Yeah. But thank you, Conrad, and thanks very much, mate.
That's awesome. Yeah, I will say lots of people say about the Jack Daniels calculator and working out how your what's called half pace translates to a marathon and all that sort of stuff, and predictions of what you should actually run.
But I imagine with your autism, Conrad, you're probably a numbers guy, so I'm sure that you find Jack Daniels very, very interesting and it's very, very useful to you, I imagine.
Yes, definitely.
So yeah. Okay. All right. Well, thanks for your email.
Thanks,
that was a great email. Next one's from Nathan Hampson. It says, "Hi, Andy and Brett. Firstly, a huge congrats to you for both smashing it in London and Leeds. Brett, hats off to you for pulling off a PB in that heat. Impressive work. And Andy, it looked like a real tough day at the office. Just wanted to drop a quick update on what I've been up to since I saw Andy at the Wolves 10K. As mentioned in a previous episode, I was building towards a Newport Marathon, not chasing a particular time, just aiming for a PB. Everything felt great up until mile 17. Then out of nowhere, I got a sharp shooting pain through my lower back, like my spine had locked up. I had to back off the pace just as the half marathon runners joined the course, which made the final stretch even tougher. I managed to hang on, though, at around 4 minutes a K and finish in 2:44.46 with a bad back as well. Over the moon with that time, but I couldn't walk afterwards. Hobbling to the bag drop was rough. And by the time I got back to Birmingham, I could barely get from the car to my flat. I had a few days off running and I tried some cross training, but looking back, I rushed it and probably set myself back. It turned out to be piriformis related, and I've been working through it slowly with mobility, S&C, and a bit of patience. Definitely a lesson learned. A few weeks later, with minimal mileage, I gave the Birmingham half a go. I even managed to get through it and got a shout out and a shout out to Mom for the support and nicknaming me Maradona for constantly pointing out potholes on the course. I remember that. He's like, I think this guy is indicating. Recovery is something that I've always joked about, but this whole thing gave me a wake-up call. After a few weeks at sub 50 kilometers and seriously itchy feet, I'm now gradually building back up. I've started a 12-week block aimed at the Solihull half, focusing on getting sharper and stronger. Newport will be my only marathon this year as I'm trying to be smart and build back right. Brett, I really feel for you during this downtime for your op. It's only when running is taken away from you that you realize how much you love it and how lucky we are to do what we do. Wishing you the smoothest recovery and looking forward to seeing you back at it when the time's right. Thanks so much for all the podcast episodes. It's been a real source of motivation through this weird patch. Appreciate you both. All the best, Nathan at no.fun_running. Cheers,
Amazing.
Nathan.
Cheers, Nathan. That's awesome. Man, to run that sort of time with a bad back, and I know exactly what pain he's talking about because I've had that. I've had trouble with my glutes loads in the past, and especially piriformis. And it's basically, they call it false sciatica because it can send pain down your leg like sciatica can, but it can also send it up into your back. And I honestly thought at one point I'd got a sacrum stress fracture or got a pelvis stress fracture or something because the pain in my back was so bad, but it was all coming from a piriformis. So I know exactly how you feel, and to manage to run through that and get that time, incredible.
Yeah, that's really quite impressive. Nathan is such a nice guy as well.
Yeah,
I'm really, really pleased for you, mate, because you really deserve that. You've put not the shooting sharp pain through your back. You don't deserve that. 2:44. Yeah, that's an incredible time. So yeah, really thrilled for you, mate.
And you can tell he's now a club runner and he's done cross country and stuff because pointing out potholes and stuff is the sort of thing that everybody does whilst you're running off road. You see a pothole and you pointed it so everybody behind you notices that there's a hole there.
Right.
So yeah, brilliant. Love it.
Yeah. Imagine Mom doing cross country. I don't think that would work, would it?
No, I don't think.
I can't imagine him in a club vest, to be honest. So
No.
But fair play. Now rest up, mate, and hope that you can build back better, as you say. So sounds like a manifesto for a new government, doesn't it? But this last one, I'll just rattle through it because we're nearly at 11 o'clock at night. How do we do this? Right. This is from James Sleet, and he says, "Hi, Brett and Andy. Hope you guys are well, and it's not been too frustrating a week for you, Brett, not being able to run. You'll soon be flying around the track again, I'm sure. Just a quick question for you. I've got the Peterborough half coming up later this month, and it's basically loops of a 5K route. So it might be a bit mind numbing. And I just wondered if there are any specific training routines or routes that you guys do to help build mental toughness. If you know a race that, mental toughness, if you know that a race might not be the most exciting. Take care, James. Looking forward to the next earwax update. I cancelled my second appointment. It was on Wednesday.
I was going to say, did you? Yeah.
It's 60 quid. I thought, I ain't paying that. I'm not paying it. And there was no guarantee she'd sort it. And she's given me eardrops. They've worked.
Did you ring them to cancel it?
No, of course not. Oh. No, I did.
Oh, you actually rang them?
I did, yeah.
Yeah. And when you said I'm cancelling, did they say, you up?
Yeah, I was like, I can't be bothered with this. Yeah.
Brilliant. Okay. So
get down the track, I'd say.
Yeah. Run laps of the track. There's some mental toughness. Yeah. But that's a tough one. I know people who will go and do a marathon training session on an 800-meter loop, so a half a mile loop, and they'll do a 20-mile session around that loop. Yeah. So 40 laps, which is crazy. I'm not sure I'd be able to do that, but on a slightly longer loop, like laps of the lake, Arrow Valley Lake, it's about 1.5 miles around the lake, and I quite like going and doing that. And one of the good things about laps, I hate laps in a race. So being in a race and doing that, that is going to be tough across a half marathon, doing 4 laps of a 5K route. But the good thing about laps is you know what's coming up on the next lap. So once you've done it once, you know where the tough bits are, where the tricky bits are, where the tight corners are, where the rises are, where the declines are. So you can start to really, each lap, master the course and get better on each lap. So as the half marathon is starting to get tricky with fatigue and tiredness, you've got the parts of the course where you know certain bits are going to be a bit tougher than others, and you can really take advantage of the easier bits so that the hard bits aren't as tough. So I think you've just got to get out though and do a bit of training around a certain loop to see how it feels just to do loops.
Yeah, you don't need to do every session round the same loop, because then you will lose the plot.
Yeah.
But, just maybe a couple of weeks in your taper or whatever, maybe your last workout. But I've done this before with loops, and I've really think you can use it to your advantage, because let's say you're doing let's just say a 10K, and you found a 3 mile. All right, let's just say you do a 10-mile workout and you've got a 3 mile. Let's keep it to multiples of 3, okay? You've got a 9-mile run to do, and you've got a 3-mile loop that 5K. Okay, you've got 11 o'clock. It's 11:02. It's getting late.
You and numbers is amazing. I love it.
Just like when I've done this before, I did 3 loops, just progressive loops, and little things like that. You can get quicker. You could do one anti-clockwise, one clockwise to mix it up, but you don't need to do all your training runs in a monotonous way. Maybe just do one big key workout that's simulating the race environment, as they say, and you should be fine. In fact, you don't need to do anything really, because once you're in race mode, you won't really be, I don't know how you'll feel, but you probably won't be as bored by the terrain as you think. Like Brett says, you'll probably almost be thinking of it like, okay, I've got a little bit of course knowledge now, and I know where these tricky bits are or where the turns are and stuff. So you can use it to your advantage.
Yeah. But either way, have a great race.
Yeah, I think it won't be as bad as you think it'll be. I think it'll be, if anything, it'll work to your advantage. So good luck, James.
Good. Ace, is that all of the emails?
That is all. We are up to date.
Ace. So to go back to the comments that I said I was going to leave for slightly later. This one is from LOLO35.
Just seen it, yeah.
And they say, short but sweet comment. I love seeing Andy's face every time Brett violates the microphone with the Strava segment. Andy's nervous snigger is hilarious. It will never be normal, and I think he fears the worst for himself.
I do, yeah. It's an uneasy moment for me. Yeah.
So, with that in mind, it is time for this week's the Strava segment.
It's just the linger. It's the linger, and then it's the look. It's the side eye. It's the side eye to check I'm looking, to check I'm hating this awkwardness. And then it's the delivery, the cold, hard delivery.
Yeah. So this week, last week's leaderboard, in first place on our distance, and he has got first place by a massive 22 miles.
What?
Is Kyle Blacketer with 84 mile for the week, which is awesome.
That's decent.
In second is Michael Rodders.
He's back
with 62.8. He is back up to good mileage. So yeah, great to see you back up the top, Mike. And then in third is Jordan Adams. So that's good to see. Jordan's back up to some good mileage as well with 62.2 miles. So awesome work from you three. And honourable mention in fourth place is Swansea's finest, Tommy D. 61.1 miles.
Yeah.
And then on our climbing, in first place is Matt Nichols with 8,392 foot of climbing. Second is Josh Hurtado with 7,234 foot. And then third is Mark with a C with 6,509 foot of climbing. And then our top three ladies, in first place is Rachel Watson with 60.4 miles. And I do want to say she came fifth overall out of everyone on the leaderboard. So not only first lady, but fifth overall. Second was Chloe Hamard with 56.4 miles. And third was Victoria Lee with 56.1 miles.
Oh, so 500 meters awesome in between them. Yeah. Well done, ladies. Very good.
Yeah. So amazing work, everybody. And join in our Strava club, and let's see if we can get you on the leaderboard one week. So yeah. So have you got anything else for this week?
No, that's it. I think race Sunday, going to Parkrun tomorrow. Nice easy one.
Excellent.
And then two races to recap next week.
Yes. Amazing.
So hopefully they'll both go well.
Yeah. No marshalling for me at Parkrun tomorrow. I'm off to a wedding. So
Oh, nice. Where are you at?
That should be good. Over in Rugby.
Right.
So
cool.
Yeah, should be good. Good fun. So
is it an all-in-one jobby, or is it a church and then a ceremony, or
I don't know. I haven't looked into that much detail. I just know I'm going tomorrow. I don't even know what time I'm going to be there yet. I'm going to have a look at that in a minute.
Yeah, okay. You might want to check, yeah.
Yeah. I don't even know if I got a clean shirt. We'll see.
Oh, dear. Yeah. Just go in a singlet. You'll be fine.
Yeah. Right. So thank you very much for listening or watching, and we shall see you next week. Cheers, guys.
Cheers, guys. I think this might be a PB 227. It could be a PB. Kieran did say, can you do an extra long one for me? Because I'm doing 100 miles. So there you go.
There you go, Kieran. There you go. Enjoy. Yeah. Hope it's going well and you're enjoying your Apollo bar.
Yeah, let us know what it's like.